Take a deep, long breath into the heart chakra. Breathe out, release all tension, all fear, all restriction. And take a deep breath into your body. Breathe out, release all restriction. Breathing love into your heart. Breathing out all stress, all tension. Welcoming your body to the space. Welcoming all of our friends into the space. And if you are feeling resonant with this vibration, go ahead and like and share this video so that more of our light family can be with us now and can vibe in these vibrations together. And remember to take long, deep breaths, bringing you into this present now moment where there is peace and love and safety. The safety of our higher self energy, of our higher self essence. Take a deep breath into the heart, into the body, welcoming yourself into the space. Just take a moment now to take a long, deep breath into the heart, into your body. We're going to start the day today with just a little bit of a mental and physical health check-in. Just check in with your body. Is there any part of your body that is holding this tension, or holding any suspense or fear? Is there any part of you that is feeling anxious in the uncertainty of any dimension of this world? Especially tuning into the lower back today, just the bottom sections of your spine. Maybe you want to just do some spiraling circles. I think they call these whirling Sufi swirls. And as you just do this gentle circling motion with your body, tune into how your lower back and your body is feeling. Maybe you want to go really slowly And just breathe into the places in the body that the tension is hiding. And just bring your awareness there. Bring this love and this healing vibration right to those places in the body. I'm going to go and spin the other way. Tuning into the adrenals and the kidneys. Go ahead and just resetting our nervous system and flipping into the parasympathetic nervous system action here. Bring in this energy of peace, security, presence, and love. All the energies that are present right now in this field. Allow the sound vibrations to just move and penetrate into the body. Take some nice long deep breaths. Say hello to any of your inner children or teenagers or any part that might be feeling a little bit anxious, and just send this peaceful, loving energy right to them. Holding them in this loving embrace. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the space. Welcome to all of your beautiful energies and parts today. Just sending out a little bit of extra peace and love to all of our parts that might be feeling any sort of way. If you're feeling resonant with these vibrations, please do share this video. Today we have a very special guest, Matthew. I'm just going to bring him onto the screen. Oh, his video's up. Here we go. Matthew is a brilliant friend of mine. He's one of the most authentic and hilarious people in our community. And we met back in 2017. And Matthew says that, at that time we had different bodies, which I think is so funny, but it's true.
We did.
So Matt, just introduce yourself for all the people that are maybe new to meeting you today.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. I mean that very sincerely. I really, really enjoy what you've been doing over the past week with this. The ones that I've been able to catch has actually it's been a part of the day that I've looked forward to, because I've been working on a bunch of coursework and things that I've been doing. So it's been this weird little spot in the day where I'm oh, interesting, cool. Z's still doing live streams, cool. So I just want to say thank you for that. I think that it's given a lot of people that have been hanging out over this past week with all the insanity, and maybe just the past day as well. It gives people kind of a grounding point, and I think a place for people to kind of roll in and be oh, hey, okay, there are people, here in the world that are, doing stuff, and we're grounded and we're in a process. And I don't know, I just think it's a really cool thing. But yeah, anyway, that aside, hello to all those of you on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Matthew. I guess this is always where it gets weird, because I'm what do I actually do at this stage of the journey? I would call myself essentially a professional intuitive reader and a multidimensional energy healer, specializing, I would say, primarily in the removal of negative energetic manifestations from the body. Some of us will call those things entity attachments, depending on what sort of ascension school of lingo you belong to. You'll call them implants. Other people, for all the rest of us in the world, we usually acknowledge them as blocked trauma or blocked emotion, or in certain cases physical or even sort of chemical density that resides in the body. And so at this stage of the journey, I'd say my primary mission is helping people learn how to clear just density of all forms from within the layers of the non-physical body, which in my opinion is probably the frontier of energy healing at this stage of the journey, you guys, because we're about to enter this place in which, you know, the chakra body, the meridian body, all of the non-physical channels in the human body are about to become so much more palpable for everyone. So I would say a big part of my journey at this stage is not only clearing and sort of looking at that energy, but probably over the past year has been really and just putting together coursework and these classes, which I never thought I would ever be doing. I want to say that I never thought I'd be one of those people that's like, I'm, you know, about to create a school for some sort of you know, dimensional energy, but yet it has happened and it has formed over the past year. And so I've been putting together these courses and hopefully helping people learn how to open up the non-physical layers of the body and do a very special thing at the same time, which is, in my opinion, and I know I'm already kind of like ranting at you here, but in my opinion, it is one of the absolute most exciting stages of our journey here as humans. And that is, as we open the non-physical layers in the body, we become more psychic, we become more intuitive. We start to literally awaken what some people call powers, but it's really just natural human ability in the body. And so I would like to think that my journey is helping people unlock and figure that stuff out. And so I know that was a mouthful, but I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I'm so, so excited that, you know, we're able to get you on today, you know, because we've been talking a lot about, obviously, you know, in our profession, we get a lot of people asking, like, how do I open my psychic abilities? How do I talk to my guides? And I think for the most part, people really want to just jump right to that. And we've been talking a lot about how oftentimes that can be really dangerous when we don't even know what our own energy feels like, or we haven't done the inner work, you know, of our own inner multidimensional bodies. And so I love that you immediately touched on the fact that, you know, as we actually work through those things and heal ourselves, that our natural abilities just naturally begin to awaken. And that's actually definitely the most grounded and safest way to engage in this work. And so I'm really happy that we get to kind of dive into the more specifics of these things. I would just love to, you know, maybe just go in right away to hearing about, like, what's the thing that you're most excited about? Like, what is this thing that you recently discovered that you feel like is relevant for people to learn about right now?
Oh my God, so many things. Whew. Okay, I would say first off, if there's something, let's see, let me sort of catch the flow of the most recent stuff in the moment. I would say probably the first thing that, at least from my viewpoint, people need to be made aware of at the start of 2021, especially at the start of 2021, is we are in the process of receiving what I call a timed download, or sort of like a file. You know, you'll download this huge, you know, let's say a 5.9 gigabyte file, you know, on your hard drive, and it'll take a few minutes to download. We are right now in a stage of human consciousness in which we are receiving a download of energy that was pre-created by us, for us, prior to coming into this realm, that was stationed to be loaded into the human body at these very interesting intervals in human consciousness. And so I would say, if there's one thing that really sort of piques my interest in the moment, it is the nature of just individualized activations that we're seeing on the earth plane right now, because we're watching people, I mean, truly awaken and open up really, really interesting elements of themselves. And we find that, at least in my opinion, it seems to be correlated with actual, what some people call universal energy centers. I call them just sort of like the sort of lattice or the infrastructure that exists outside of the human body. And so I would say for me, kind of like the biggest deal in the energy of the moment is kind of understanding and decoding the manner by which each of us as individuals are going through this really interesting activation and awakening process that I think as humans that have been here on the earth plane for the past, you know, 20 or 30 or 40 or however many years, a lot of what we were taught about non-physical anatomy, a lot of what we were taught about the chakras, or especially things like intuitive ability, we're finding as we go into fourth density that they are absolute, well, I shouldn't say wrong, but they're absolutely individual and unique to each person. And so for me, the greatest, you know, fascination in the moment is really, I guess we could sum it up by saying fourth density and the individualized nature by which each person chooses a path, an assignment, a persona, a stage of identity. And, you know, I don't know, maybe that's many things all rolled into one, but I think it's the most exciting time to be on Earth. I mean that very, very sincerely, no matter what's going on. Absolutely. Earth is the place to be right now, you guys. And I know there's a lot of people in the chat that are you're going to know it in your heart. You feel that intensity, but you're like, you know what? It is. there's nowhere else we would be. And so, I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
I love it. Somebody says that your words are just flowing like water. So, our conversation today, the theme is multidimensional disclosure because Matt and I have kind of both been pulled into this disclosure community. And for the most part, you know, a lot of people are talking a lot about like the government and all sorts of things that are happening in like the physical. And, you know, in my personal journey, I have found that the majority of the things that like blew my mind and was like, oh my God, that's what the world is like, has always been multidimensional in nature, has always been about, you know, things that are, you know, invisible in a way, or things that we have felt, or our energies that are present. And so that's why I wanted to open this conversation up with Matt today. You know, we have been talking about different things like the Archon grid and the reptilian overlays and the mind control and everything. But I feel like what I really want to get into today is how we can really begin to discover all of those different levels of distortion inside of our own body. Because I feel like this disclosure whole thing, it's really like an inside job kind of thing. And like somebody in the chat box was saying, you know, like we are the projectors of the reality. And that's really what these controllers, they don't want you to know that you're a creator being, because they're really tricking us into creating this artificial reality within which we're all enslaved. And so we can actually focus so much on the external versions and components of the control matrix, but until we actually turn that inwards and figure out all the places that that energy, that control has infiltrated into our own energy body and has blocked our own sense and our own awareness of who we really are, until we really go in to do that, you know, we can know everything about the CIA and we'll still be inside the false matrix, right? So Matt, I would love for you to talk about, you know, what are some ways, how can people get started? You know, somebody just woke up and you're like, holy shit, I'm in a control matrix. Like, what do I do?
Oh Lord. Yeah. Actually, first of all, that is a perfect question for me. I'm at the stage in which I'm sort of like 3/4 done with this, what I call the, it's called the field guide to the dimensional shift. And it's basically this whole manual of like information that I've been like putting like together for the past couple of years, classes, information, stuff about tarot, just the whole kind of framework of stuff that I've been coming up with. But I would say where would people start at this stage of the journey? And I'm hoping that was your question. I feel like I instantly started like rambling at you until I forgot your question, but but yeah, where would people start? I would say for a lot of us right now, we're experiencing a very specific type of like a thread of energy that will be tied into not only early childhood, but also a few specific energy centers in the body, namely places like the solar plexus, places like the throat chakra, or even more importantly, the very, very important energy center that exists outside the body that I call the higher heart, or the Thymic Chakra. And so for a lot of us right now, over the past year, you guys have been noticing how you'll just sign on to social media and you'll read someone's words and you'll get a whole other message and you'll be like, oh, or you'll just see two things and you'll just get this vibe or this message or this signal or this image or this sound or this phrase in your head. And I think because for a lot of us, that's one of the first chakras that opens up, the high heart or the Thymic Chakra. And so what does that have to do with sensing or feeling energy? That's what we call the emotional microphone for some of us. Some people call it an energetic magnet, but it's one of the energy centers that actually allows you to feel, or it facilitates the opening of the soul star chakra, which is outside of the body, which will allow energy to begin streaming in a whole different way. And so I would say one of the first things people could do is start working with emotional distortions from pre-age 6, like what we were programmed in, sort of like the early childhood transactional nature. A lot of it has to do with what we believe we deserve, what we believe we're worthy of, you know, abundance kind of frequencies and all of those things. And so I usually start with looking at pre-age 6 emotional blockage in the body, because for a lot of us, when we're just trying to feel or understand other people's energy, even if this sort of Thymic Chakra and all these other valves, and there's many of them, which we can totally talk about, that's just one of many, when those things start to open up, it's not that we're even able to differentiate the streams of information that's coming in, but what we're but what we are able to do is gauge the difference. And so one of the ways we begin to differentiate those streams of energy is by working with a whole mess of other things. And this is where it gets weird for everyone that's watching and you're hoping for some, well, what's the actual answer? What's the finite way? You know, what's the actual method? It's literally different for every single person. And that's the great mystery of going through this awakening and activation process, is that each of us has our own strange combination of blockages or programs. Sure, we all have an early childhood sort of module that we're brought in with. It's a very interesting thing. If you guys are wondering, I know I'm going on a crazy rant here, Z, but if you guys are wondering, where would some of that data be within my body? Well, it's not even so much about the chakra body anymore. It's actually, and this is, you know, once again, my opinion, much more about what's going on within the meridians. For a lot of us right now that are really trying to tap into the immediacy of the energy of the moment, the meridian body, in my opinion, represents an entirely new frontier in terms of intuitive ability. And so to kind of sum it up, I think it's a mix of many things, but the key is understanding your own individual sort of method. I will add one other thing and then I'll pause though, because I know that's a lot of info. If there's anything that anyone needs to do right now, and I know you've probably said this multiple times over the week, it's really detox the body of heavy metal particulate matter, especially aluminum, anything that we're breathing in or drinking. Because in my opinion, that's probably one of the primary blockages that everyone's holding on to right now that makes us really all the way down to being susceptible to that virus that shall not be named, you know, hence we pop the algorithm. I mean, it's all the way down to heavy metal toxicity in the body. And so I'll pause. I know that was a lot, but yeah.
So I'll just pop in here and just add this one little thing. I'll piggy off of Matt, and then I'd love for you to tell us more about how to detox from heavy metals, because I think that's really pertinent. But somebody asked, I can't remember how long ago, so how do I remember? And personally, I find that cultivating subtle body awareness is really important, and that's kind of a broad exercise that everybody can do. And I personally do it through, calming my mind and just pointing my mind inward so I can actually begin to sense the energies, which everybody is able to do. Is just that you've been focused outwardly your whole entire life. Sometimes, for your job or at a computer for so long that it's hard to turn that awareness inward, because the body is just so much information there if you're not used to tuning in. And that's why spending, time tuning into the body at this point is so important. The longer you have spent not doing that, the longer you need to actually do it, probably, to get actually into the body and become aware of those energies. Because, everything that we have experienced and all these energies that are still blocked, they are accessible within the body. And as Matthew was saying, it's probably stored in different parts of the body. So with that intention of going in to remember or to sense whatever energies you're looking for, particularly, as Matthew is saying, in your youth, before the age of 6 or 7, just go ahead and say, body, what am I holding on to? And oftentimes, an energy will come up. You will begin to feel different things come up. And then it's just a matter of not dismissing things, right? Because sometimes you can be like, oh, I think I feel something, but I'm probably making it up. And, for the most part, it's actually not rocket science. Like, you can feel your own body. You can feel your own body. Like, that's just not, an extraordinary thing to believe. So really spending time to just go within and just feel the body. I know that, there's so many meditations that want you to leave your body or just do this complete different thing or visualize things. I find that if you have not done a lot of meditation practice, just going in to feel your body and scan your body, this is probably the most essential thing you could possibly do, because this is how you get to know thyself. So on that note, I'm going to pass it back to you, Matthew. Let's talk about heavy metal detox.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with the embodiment. I think that's probably the most important thing that we can do also at the beginning of this new year, because there's so much uncertainty in terms of world events and worldview and who subscribes to this and who follows that. And, it's like what I have viewed and seen within like what we would call the collective, if you want to go there, is that we are on a path toward almost disembodiment every single day through social media, through, I would just say, like the information and the level to which we're asked to trust outside sources, trust a plan, trust an outside, entity, trust a person, trust a celebrity, all of that stuff. I would say embodiment for me, just kind of, going off what you're saying, is probably the most important thing, truly allowing and feeling what's really going on in the body, which is a very frightening thing for a lot of us. I mean, truly a frightening thing. But um, all that aside, when we talk about the phenomenon or just the process of heavy metal detox, one of the things that's really helped me, which I did not expect it to help me, and this was bentonite clay, liquefied bentonite clay, because for me, I had so much going on in the intestines, and we find for a lot of us right now, what I call the first psychic skill, but it's really just an opening within what I believe to be the energetic quality of the large and small intestine, mixing with the vagus nerve and even the chakra layers. But anyway, the first, what I call psychic skill that activates for a lot of us is claircognizance. When you just know, you'll just know something and you turn it on, or you look at your phone, or you just know something's going to happen. And for a lot of us, that's the most quickly suppressed. And so when we start detoxing from the gut, especially, what we call the alimentary canal, all the way from the tongue, all the way down to the, like the anal opening, everything passing through there. Once we're able to clear that pathway, it's like the body starts to be able to tune to a little bit of a different radio frequency. That's when things like the vagus nerve start to operate a little bit differently. I've been hearing a lot of vagus nerve talk lately, but this is one of the most important things for you guys to be made aware of. Outside of heavy metal detox, it's really time for everyone to study the functions of the vagus nerve, because that's going to be the highway through which our body is transmitting and sending a lot of the physically based intuitive information, but we're unable to make use of the signaling and especially the consciousness based elements that pass through the vagus nerve until we're able to clear the gut brain pathway. And so I guess clearing the gut brain pathway is an ongoing process for everyone, but I would say start with things like bentonite, diatomaceous earth. That's another one. Zeolites in general, most of the zeolite products will create kind of a shedding or a pulling out of toxins in the body. In my opinion, though, bentonite was the one thing that I actually began to notice started to literally remove mass from my large intestine. I could feel it. I'm just going to say, you'll just poop it out. It just keeps going. It's a very positive thing. But that's probably the first thing you could do. I would say secondly, and the people from the classes that are here are going to be like, I know, they totally know this, but fulvic acid. And that's one of many things, but for my personal experience, fulvic acid, and I'll spell it Fulvic. A lot of people already know about it. But for me, that was one of the things that I was first able to really energetically analyze within my own body, and later on a number of clients. And what I discovered is, as well as other people, it was kind of it's not just something that I solely found out, but a lot of people have understood that fulvic acid actually oxidizes the layers of heavy metal around the sides of your brain. It can literally cross the blood-brain barrier and move into areas of your brain that will be clogged up with what's essentially these microscopic particulate little like pieces of aluminum, of stuff that we drink. Even fluoride crystals will sort of make their way through all these strange places in our brain. And when we start to use fulvic acid, it allows that to it allows it to permeate and pass through the body. And so I would say clear the gut brain pathway. And so yeah, that would be the starting point, but there's many others.
Somebody asked if it's something that we would just take just as a cleanse, or will we have to take it forever?
What I've done is I've done like 60 days. I'll take it for about 2 months. I always have bought the liquid version, and you guys can go on Amazon and just, you'll find liquid fulvic acid, take a couple drops of it in the morning, and like a bottle will last about a month or two, like depending on how often you take it. But I'll go on a cycle. I'll take it for a while and then we'll stop. But I will just add this because I know there's some true spiritual warriors out there that are ready to really clear the energy body. And I'm just going to say it, outside of the heavy metal detoxing right now, if you guys really, really want to open up the physical body, do a full body parasite cleanse. I mean, absolutely all the way. There's a number of things you can use, but I think that's probably one of the most severe issues that most of us are dealing with and no one realizes it. When I did a really deep physical parasite cleanse last year, and also this year, I'm kind of starting one right now actually, it literally changes everything. It'll change your skin, it changes your tongue, it changes how well your brain works. I would say if there's anyone out there listening, the time is now. So parasite cleanse, heavy metal detox. I'm just kind of ranting at EZ.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm so happy that you're ranting.
I know.
It's the
Watch
best
out,
kind of
dude. If you let
ranting.
me in the door, I'll just like, no. We'll just go on and on. So sorry.
No, please don't apologize. I'm so grateful. After I think this is like day 10 or
Oh,
day
right.
9.
Yeah.
So my throat is like out of juice.
Totally. I actually did a reading on you before we came in here, and it sort of like indicated a little bit of that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it was interesting. We can talk about it later, but no, yeah, I'm just kidding.
No, I would love to. I would love to hear more about it. I actually would love to connect with you because I want to hear more about this project that you're working on. And so, maybe after the
Absolutely.
broadcast, we'll just stay in the studio for a second. So, maybe people are asking if we can compile a list of different companies of different things. And I know that my husband has been like deep in exploring this stuff. So definitely make a list. Maybe I'll get a list from you and we'll post it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I would say black walnut. If anyone wants to go to the health food store, get some black walnut and some wormwood. I would say those are two substances that have really, especially for those of us that are dealing with liver energy. And if you're out there wondering, what's liver energy? That's that annoyed, bitter, resentful, dismissive feeling that you're picking up from people around you, people with the sort of COVID madness, all of those people in the world that are pushing and shoving and sort of like in this sort of sweaty, maddened state. For most of us, that's liver energy. And black walnut, wormwood, those are two supplements that have been incredibly helpful for me. Because I know a lot of other you guys. I know a lot of people out there have a lot of that liver energy right now as well. And that's a really, really good way to help your physical body clear it. So
Nice. Great. All right. Where should we go from here? You just take the lead there, Matt. What else is coming through for us?
well, actually, I would say if anyone wants to get super specific, start tuning into the energy around the sides of your head. By my understanding, we've been going through an ongoing activation of a couple of what they call universal energy centers. But like I said earlier, I think they're just part of additional frameworks of energy that exist outside of the human body. And so I would say one of the things people can start doing is meditating on the gallbladder meridian, meditating on the triple warmer meridian within like the meridian body. I would say within the chakra body, you can start learning about what some people call the causal chakras, which is a really, really weird word. It's a very strange term that I don't think really describes the quality or the frequency within the energy centers at the side of the head. I actually tend to refer to them as kind of like portal chakras. But I think the reason why those are important for us right now is because a lot of us are coming to the stage in which we're starting to experience, internal contact with people we know, what some people call telepathic interfacing, or what really is. This is a term that was coined by Sean Bond. I'm always really weird about giving credit to people. I never take other people's information, but heart-based text messaging. And so a lot of us right now that are able to tune into an energy on the sides of the head, if you're able to start working with your gallbladder, if you're able to start clearing the triple warmer, which for a lot of us like represent thought forms cycling through the body, very suspicious energy, the manner by which we kind of close ourselves off to a lot of stuff. And I can tell your audio's out there, so don't worry. But for a lot of us, when we start tuning in and clearing the sides of the head, we're able to make use of what I call this it's kind of like a control panel of intuitive abilities that exist within the body. It allows us to begin to basically communicate with people psychically. And so I know that that's kind of like a fantastical way to say it, but really we are literally entering the stage of human consciousness in which you guys are going to be able, and a lot of you guys are already noticing it. You're sort of having these talks and like dreams and sort of conversations with your friends on social media. You're having them, like when you're in the shower or when you're in your car or when you're by yourself. And I think we're coming to the stage where people need to begin to realize that that's becoming very, very real. the interactions that we're having within the so-called astral realm or within your internal space, it's not just entirely your space anymore. And so by my understanding, when we experience activation of the causal chakras, we begin to interact with that sort of energy outside of the human body a little bit differently. And if you guys are wondering where they are, it's very much like two little orbs. My camera angle is weird, but it's like two little orbs that will exist right outside the body. And so causal chakra activation, very, very big deal. I hope your audio is back, because I know you had a little headphone thing there. But yeah, I would say look out for that, definitely. Go ahead.
I'm back. I missed everything you said because
Oh, it's totally cool. I was going on and on about like the causal chakras, which is a very real thing. I think you've also experienced that, like in your own way, a lot of energy movement at the sides of the head, which is also one of the places, you guys, for those of you guys trying to understand energetic anatomy, there's places where your physical body templates link with not only the meridian body, but also the chakra body. And so anyways, while you're figuring that out, I was sort of ranting about the layers of multidimensional anatomy that are activated.
Dang, missed it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, and please, if anyone has any other questions about that, I finally found all the comments, so I think we're good. Yeah, good.
No, I was just gonna say that it just feels really good. I just happy to be here, and I'm so happy that we are getting you to just talk to us about the stuff. The energy in here feels super great right now, so I'm just vibing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like very, very fast moving in the moment. Like you can tell I start talking really fast and get all heightened. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for being here, everyone. I do see a couple of questions. If it's okay, I'm just going to answer a couple questions in the chat. Willow Hitchcock said, Matt, do you work with 5-element healing? First of all, thank you for that question. I want to let everyone know that the information that I talk about is really not based in any modality. I do not have formal education. I'm really not a medical medium on any level. I don't even use astrology in my intuitive practices. I think I'm what we would call a kind of a true multidimensional empathic healer, in that I'm really looking at the currents within the body more so than anything else, and really, where they extend out to. And so what I found over the past couple of years is all these sort of energetic, schools of thought, and all these, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even say it, modalities that I had never learned about, that I had no formal education in. And it's as if I was using those techniques and the information in my own practice. And so the reality is, whoever asked that, I didn't even know what 5-element healing was until last year. I had no idea. And I think that that's sort of a testament to just the human body's ability to truly tap into energy and work with exactly what's needed. Because what I had found after, I would say, about a year of doing this work, it's that guides and literal beings and other versions of myself started popping in and literally giving me information. I started to have these dreams or the experiences where I was getting educated in these classes, and they go on to this very day. Almost every single night, upon dreaming, I'll go into this whole other realm, and there's like meetings there, all sorts of classes. A lot of us have been there. Some people on Facebook have actually reached out to me and said, hey, you're in this thing with me in the astral realm, and it's literally 100% real. And so I think that's also a testament to the activation of the universal energy centers, because we will come to a stage in each of our human journey. And I know I'm going on a long rant here today, guys, but we're going to come to a stage in your human journey in which you're going to begin to know things that you have no business knowing, that you are never taught, that have no relevance or nothing to do with your life, but it's as if ancient knowledge will literally be downloaded back into you. And the reality is, it comes from a very, very specific place in the body. Comes from a place, number one, known as the Bindu Chakra. That's one of many openings, but it's sort of the back of the third eye. It's also one of the places that's opening up for a lot of us right now. The crazy thing is, and you might feel this, as soon as I start talking about this, every time I talk about it on a live or in a class, people start getting a little pulsation in the back of your head. So if you're one of those people, let us know. But that is a literal opening in the energy body that allows frequencies to come in. And what it does is it mixes with this thing called heavenly chi. which there's a lot of other terms for. Other people call it primordial chi. What it really is this sort of wavelength of past life data that you come into your body with. Other people within the meridian body call it the Chong Mai, or the central thrusting vessel. But that energy begins to mix with energy from the chakra body in the solar plexus, within the Chong Mai in the meridian body, and it streams in from the back of the head in the Bindu Chakra. And what happens is, as it begins to move down through the body, that's when we start to receive these waves of activation. We start knowing things that we have no possible way to know. And that's literally the unveiling of hidden knowledge, and the stage in our life in which we begin to come in contact with previous versions of us. And I will pause there, but because I feel like I'm going on around, but I hope that makes sense for you.
That was hot. I mean, come on.
Sorry. Like you did me on your show. I'm going to go on and on. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm stoked. Thank you so much. That was amazing. You're amazing, and we love this work that you're doing. And I totally agree with that back of the head. I feel like it's kind of the back part of our third eye. I've heard people call it the Melpomene chakra,
yes,
which is relating to the asteroid, which is a storyteller. And so I think is this back part of our third eye that receives frequencies, and then that's the part of our technology that breaks it down and translates it into feelings or images or language that we actually understand with our conscious mind. So it's kind of like this interface between cosmic energy and our ancient memories or whatever, our soul, and our current state of consciousness, current awareness in our brain. That is awesome. Super important activation for us.
It's actually where people start channeling for a lot of people. Sorry to just throw that in there, but I think it's important because a lot of people are going to start having these experiences where there's going to be this voice and this actual other version of you that starts to, emit out of you, like whether it be through toning or speaking or even just in your own internal processes. And it's directly related to the activation of that Bindu Chakra. And check it out, for those of you guys that want to actually go into the layers of human anatomy and the physical body and figure out where does that energy stream directly into in the actual brain, it's called Wernicke's region. You guys can look it up on a little brain cutout right now. Wernicke's region in the back of the head. For many of us, researchers believe is responsible for assigning or the understanding or the manner by which the human brain uses and chooses and understands actual words that are created. It's not the only way, or it's not the only place that we do it, but for a lot of us, we're about to experience a lot of energy in our life in that area. And I would say let the voice be used at this stage of the journey, guys. Some of you are going to start finding an entirely new version of you. So, yeah.
How do we spell that? Wernicke's?
Wernicke's. Oh, yeah, I see it. Wernickes. It looks like Wernicke's. But it's right. But it's actually just this little region in the brain. It's kind of like in the back, directly in line with the Bindu Chakra. If you want to get technical, it has a very interesting effect on when people begin to channel, and they actually, the human body checks out, or your consciousness checks out, and another voice starts to come in. That's one of the places that, for at least by my viewpoint, needs to be activated in order for people to break out of channeling themselves and into channeling something else, which, I'll be honest with you, isn't necessarily something I think everyone needs to be doing right now anyway. Like, if you guys know me, I'm so not pro, into channeling really. But there are regions on the body, and there's literal places that you can start to open up that allows us to make use of all these other things. And so all the way down to your ability to send energy out of the hands. And I'm just going to mention it because I know there's a few people out there that are going to go crazy with this, and they're going to figure it out, and they're going to start using these points. But it's called Pericardium 8, and it's right in the center of your palm, guys. It's called the Laogong point. And if you close your palm and make a fist, where your middle finger touches your palm, is one of the most important energy centers, or really channels, by which we actually emit healing energy when we're doing healing work. So for all you guys that are opening that up, it's the Pericardium 8 right in the center of the hand, which is another place where the human body connects directly with the chakra body, the meridian body, and also the physical body. So Anyway, thanks, see. Yeah.
Yeah, just as a side note there, I feel like I just want to add this blip that, obviously opening up the energy bodies, I feel like the most problem, the biggest problem that I see in the community right now is that people are trying to activate their higher capabilities and their psychic abilities without having gone through the clearing and the healing of their fragments or their inner children or the stuck emotional energies. And so that's actually when you start activating your higher self and your higher sense capabilities and you haven't done that clearing and that healing inside, that's actually when the delusion comes out. That's when the paranoia comes out. And that's when the psychosis starts to happen. And so, just make sure that your higher self is, present and in the driver's seat, and that you are going in to do the less fun and appealing work, because actually that's the stuff that's going to organically and naturally open up, these higher faculties of your body. Just thinking about all the times that, I've been rolling around on the floor, like screaming about all sorts of stuff. And it's like, that's actually the pain and the trauma and, all of that stuff that we have to go in and look at, even though that's not the stuff that we want to be doing, right? It's like we want to be flying in the sky with the galactics and we want to read the stars and we want to channel and we want to talk to our guides. And it's like, please don't just start trying to go and do that stuff. It's kind of dangerous without having the skills and the awareness and the experience of, opening up these more human components of ourselves. I feel like my thing is really working with the earth self. I love the earth self. It's like this part of us that opens up this compassion and this love for ourselves, the more human aspects of healing work, where it's less about, this spastastic energy and more just about, holding space of ourselves. It's like we're healing from kind of like cosmic levels of sexual abuse on this planet. And that's kind of serious and that's kind of intense. And, we've all been going through that. We've all experienced that level of soul level trauma. And so there's a lot of pain and fragmentation that's happened inside of our vessel. And while we all want to talk about the more exciting and joyful and psychic and starry things, it's really important to point that awareness and that higher self energy right down into the places in our body, in our more dense layers of our aura that really needs that. Because again, it's really going to make your process of activating your psychic abilities a lot easier, and is the safest route to go, because it's the way that is the speed that your whole system can organically approach those activations versus, just having crazy activations, doing crazy Kundalini yoga. I've seen people do a lot of Kundalini yoga and then just totally burn themselves out and have, crazy responses. And maybe Matt, you have something to say there.
Oh Lord, yes. Oh Lord. I actually had a couple experiences with that very, very early on. And I think a lot of us, that's kind of the process of discovery in certain cases. We'll start to work with energy or begin to do certain processes. And it is totally possible. I 100% agree. I had dealt with several clients over the past couple of years that had what I kind of call, and it's sort of a silly term, but literally a form of Kundalini sickness, and almost like this feverish sort of shaky kind of absolutely amplified sense of just insanity that a couple people were dealing with. I think in one case, I had dealt with a client whose girlfriend had brought him into this actual shop I was working at the time, and he had been doing multiple years of a certain type of yogic practice with this, group of people. And he had even claimed that his sort of master had passed on and his master was sharing information, like into his body. And he had gone so far with what was essentially this sort of hyper oxygenation process in the body and a stressing of the crown chakra, that he had lost, or what he claimed was that he had lost the ability to move his body. And yet I'm like, well, dude, you're walking around here in the room with me. You can't move your body at all. But he had literally cut off all of his ability to feel any area of the body and was existing entirely. What it had appeared to be was really up and actually outside of the actual physical body itself, which is entirely possible for people to be utterly pulled out of the physical body to the extent that they have no sensitivity or very, very little ability to interact with the physical realm, and yet they'll still be there. And it creates this really wild, crazy form of psychosis. In other cases, and you know, this was sort of a thing that I had experienced, it was as if my entire body sort of started like exploding one day. I was doing this sort of like, I don't know what it was, this crazy process, and I felt the energy rise so strong through me that it was like, I actually screamed at the time. And this was years ago. I was in like a whole different like situation in my life, and everyone was like, what? And I was like, I didn't even understand what was happening. And so, yeah, it is possible to reach really wild and insane states when we don't know what we're doing. So, yeah.
How's everybody feeling? I feel super good.
Thank you. Let's see if we have any questions here.
Yeah, and is there like a process that you would like to take everybody through? Like, should we do like a group healing?
Oh my
kind of
God, we
thing?
totally can. I want to see a couple people in the chat. Let me know if you guys want to open up the vagus nerve really quick. We can absolutely do this right now. I heard somebody talking about vasovagal syncope in a chat group earlier. For those of you guys that are wondering what that is, it's the body's tendency to check out or to faint when you get stressed or to get intensely emotional or totally weighed down. And it makes it really hard for some people to keep track of their energy and manage their just sort of their overall intuitive flow in their bodies. And so, yeah, we can totally do that. And the cool thing is you can actually help because it's very voice related. We're going to do it together if you guys want. And so for everybody here, let's close our eyes. We're going to make a tone. We're going to actually use a frequency of scalar toning that I use in my own work. One of the things I love about Yuzi is that you have it on an entirely different level. But one of the things we do in the School of Multidimensional Intuition is open up the body's ability to vibrate a scalar frequency. And so we're going to use it to open up the vagus nerve. For those of you guys that are here, let's just kind of sink in. I know it's been a little crazy, a little hyperverbal, a little intense lately. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths. I'm going to count from 3 to 1 each time. We'll take a deep breath in, and then we'll release it. And then on the 3rd breath, I'm going to give you guys an example of it because it always sounds a little crazy. Every time I do this, we've done it on events, you know, we've done it all over the place. But every time I do this, it's a little crazy for some of us. What we're going to do is we're going to create a tone, a vibration in the body. It's just a simple tone. It might be high, it might be low, but what we do when we do it in unison as a group, tuned in with the intention of enhancing and opening up channels in the body, is it goes to an entirely different level. So we're going to use this to enhance and really tone the vagus nerve. And so once again, the reason why we want to do this is so we can ground the body, we can recover from intensity, we can allow ourselves to sort of mitigate the damage and all of the buildup and just really all of the just inflammation from the modern world and really transmit it into usable energy, know what's going on in the body. So here we go. Everybody settle in. Let's just gently close our eyes and really just let your belly hang out. That's one of the most important things. Really let your belly and your waist and your thighs really loose. And we're all going to take a deep breath in. Here we go, guys. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. And release. For those of you guys that know me, you know we do that little shh sound as we exhale. It kind of creates a little bit of a steam valve in the body. Let's take one more breath. This is breath number 2, everybody. We're like one unit, a multi-dimensional organism breathing in unison. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. And release. Let that breath all the way down. On this 3rd breath, just let your body vibrate, make a sound. It doesn't matter if it's crazy or if it's weird or if it's big or if it's small or if it sounds like a strange animal. This is your frequency opening up. Let's do it, guys. deep breath in. At the bottom of that breath, just release it. Some of you guys will want to do it here. Some of you guys will do it on the side of your head. Some of you guys will do it here. One of the things I do when I'm really, really like releasing energy, especially for those of us that work with clients, is I'll literally pull it out of your mouth. It's like we release all remnants of everything that we're, breathing out, that we're letting go of. And so that's a really simple way to hack the vagus nerve in the body, the 10th pair of cranial nerves, one of the most important highways for intuitive information and really just knowing what's going on in the body. And so that was an ultra fast version of it, but thanks, guys.
Can we do it like 2 more times?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Are you serious? Because we totally can. We can totally do it.
Yeah,
really?
just give
okay.
me, yeah.
No, please. Absolutely. Especially for those of you guys that are out there still, really, really getting tossed around by the waves of media and insanity, and social media. Those of us that are still watching the news and waiting for some big thing to explode or happen, let's take a moment and we're going to center the energy. We can do that 2 more times. Let's do 2 more tones, guys. Let everything... Let it all the way down. Some of you guys are going to let your shoulders kind of slump over as well. Here we go. Let's take a deep breath in. Then just release that energy. For some of you guys, that's super weird. And we're like, what is it that these people are doing, making these weird oohing and ahhing sounds on? And yes, absolutely. Because for those of you guys that are able to feel that, and I know you know this, these are the 4th density training wheels for helping your body learn how to send energy. And for some of us, it's a vocal thing, and we make this weird sound, and this actual gas or this frequency or this substance emits from the body. Others use the voice in an entirely different way. A lot of us, if you want to get technical, I know there's a lot of people that are going to watch this, and they're going to know instantly. I say this in the classes that we do. You don't actually even have to make the sound. That's the craziest part about it. But that's where a lot of us will start. And so anyway, thanks, you guys. Let us know if you have any questions.
That was awesome. Somebody says it feels like they pulled something out of their mouth.
Oh, I see it there. Thank you. Honestly, that is a very important experience and a sensation. Even if you're just starting to, come into awareness of non-physical energy. A lot of you guys that know me will know that I am very, very keen on what I call symbolic gestures of separation. A lot of people talk about cord cutting or, entity extraction, but we have the ability here in the human body now, when we create a movement or do a thing or wave the hand or whatever we want to call it, we're at the stage of the journey in which it's way more than just us, making a gesture now, especially when we do things with intention. And so it's one of the things I will nearly always do, especially when we're toning or we're opening up energy centers. And some of you guys later on in your journey, it's going to be as simple as literally just holding your finger on that area and activating the energy. But yeah, you'll pull it out of your mouth.
A few people are asking us to do it one more time.
Yeah, I will. We can absolutely do it again. Yeah, you want to do it? Totally. Let's do it again. Give me one more of those, because I don't want to be oohing and ahhing it up here. And people are like, what are these guys doing? I came here to watch Z's live stream, and there's this guy on there making all these sounds. Well, oh, there we go. Okay, so we got one more. Okay, so this one, you guys, we can actually do. We're going to jump from like 1st grade to 3rd grade, which isn't very far, but it's like we're going to go 1 grade over. And there's a process that we started to use in the Meridian class that I did. I think it was a few months ago. I called it a silent wave transmission, but it's really what we're doing is we're creating a low level hum. It's like a deep, deep wave within the body. You guys will hear throat singers do it. If you guys want to look up like alti throat singers, you'll hear them do this like, I can barely do it, but some people are amazing at it. But what we're going to do is try a little bit different wave or a different type of vibration. For those of you guys that are trying to figure out what are we doing, we are using an awakening human technology, and what we're basically doing is vibrating templates in the body. For those of you guys that are familiar, I think it's with the Emoto Foundation, how they would send energy or wavelengths into, I think it was like water or maybe snowflakes or whatever it was, and it would actually change the structure of it. What we're doing is we're creating that process in the physical body. But where in the physical body? Within the chakras, in the meridians. So we're going to do one more. It's a very low hum. It's like, oh. So we're going to do that, but it's very helpful to wind up. So we're going to do 3 breaths, guys. So everyone tune in, everybody settle in. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold it. And release. It's going to be even easier for you guys to take these big breaths after those tones. One more big breath in as a group. And release. And on this third one, for those of you guys that have never experienced this before, this is also a good time for you to just let yourself receive and notice what you notice. For those of you guys that want to do it with us, we're creating a low hum in the body. You're going to push your energy all the way down, like down into your stomach, as low as you can go, and you're going to hum. It'll sound like a machine for some of you guys. For some of you guys, it'll be like a weird animal, but we're going to do it together. So this is our final one. Big, big breath. At the end, simply release that energy. Some people do it at the throat, others do it down at the solar plexus. It's really up to you guys, but yeah. Let me know how that worked. That's definitely a weird one for a lot of people, right? See, it's like, we're really going there. We're totally going there.
Yeah, thank you so much for hopping on here with us today.
Absolutely.
I think that people got a lot out of it, and what an amazing energy and expertise you bring to the table. So for all the people that are wanting to follow Matthew's work, I posted his website and his YouTube channel in the comment section. And yeah, is there any other code? Somebody says their dog is giving them a look.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, perfect. I'm sorry, what was that? Was there what?
Just, is there any other code that you feel like transmitting today, or are you feeling complete?
You know, I would say really people, we're at the stage at the beginning of this year in which I believe each of us is being called to really, really let go of the level of dependency upon who we perceive as our leaders, our saviors, our celebrities, those that those that handed our world view to us when we just walked in the door. I think if there's something that people can really do for themselves at the start of this year, and it's a very alien process for a lot of us, it's very strange and unfamiliar, but I think what we can do is begin to rely solely upon the still small voice within you and really connect with what's happening in your body. There's going to be a tremendous amount of uncertainty. There's going to be all kinds of distortions. There's going to be all kinds of emotions. But upon really, really leaning into the self, each of us this year is going to be propelled into an entirely different stage of the journey. A lot of you guys that are here on this live stream today, I don't know how many there are, but I'd like everyone to really take a moment right now, if you can, and take a selfie. Look at yourself in the mirror. Take a screenshot on your phone. Look at yourself now, because by the time August, September rolls around, you will absolutely be a different version of yourself. And I think, the ways that we can really speed that up for each of us right now is beginning to rely and really, foster that voice, foster and really begin to understand the frequency of truth. When we start to open up the chakras, and really just by learning and just looking at, reading about the non-physical anatomy in your body is going to start unlocking knowledge that a lot of you guys who are just now hearing of it, you just tuned into this live stream and you're like, so all these people making these weird noise and talking about all this crazy stuff, and trying to figure out where you fit in this strange energetic realm, this fourth density realm that we just walked into. Well, one of the ways in which your body will start to unpack that is simply by learning non-physical anatomy and what the chakras do and how they work and what's in there and what kind of experiences. And so I would say, if there's anything that I can give to people in this soul group, like really, really give to you guys, is my prayer is it is a true passion for understanding what is going on inside your non-physical body. Because for a lot of us right now, everybody, look at what's going on media, look at in politics, everyone's looking out there wondering, when is he or them or it, when are we going to get the post, when's the storm going to drop, where's the solar flash? The crazy thing is we have the ability to create that now, and what we find is that solar flash and ascension process is entirely individual to each of us. I would even go so far as to say, if you are listening, if you found this broadcast, and even those of you, I know there's always a few of them, either like, what am I doing? What the hell? What's up with these guys? I just walked in this chat room. What is this? Even if you're one of those people and you're capable of hearing my voice, it's because you chose in 2021 to go through this path of awakening. A lot of people right now are absolutely unable to hear this message. I will even go so far as to say, and Z, I think you've encountered this as well, there are people out there who you will be utterly invisible to until they're able to actually perceive and join you at that level of energetic interaction. I mean, it is absolutely real. And so wherever you are in the journey, I would say learn about what's going on, trust that voice within you, detox your body, and if anything, really take off the mask.
Oh, he went there. He went
But
there.
anyway, yeah, I
He
did.
went there. Well, okay, now that you pulled that card out, first of all, if you're just tuning into this live stream now, we actually been talking about the original human template. This is day 9, I think, and for the last 9 days, we've been really talking about how we create reality with our energy body. So if you're just tuning into this right now, go ahead and check those out. It's on my YouTube channel. You just search Zero Star Healer. So on a whole nother note, I was in the city, I think, a week ago or a few days ago, and I went into the store and I was like, holy shit, people are still wearing their freaking masks, because I live in the middle of nowhere. I go to the city like once a month. And so every time I go there, I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Like, why is everybody wearing a mask? It's like just this whole thing to me. So then I realized something. Like, I realized, I think years ago, when my psychic abilities started coming online, at that time, I, again, have not done my inner work. So when my psychic abilities came online, I would start manifesting like chaos and crazy shit, because, our creative energy flows through our body. And so because I had all these unhealed wounds and shadows and stuff, they would start like projecting outwards, like immediate manifestation. And I get like super freaked out, and I shut those powers down. And so one of the ways, when I realized I had those powers, I think I was like at this rave, and I was drunk, and it was like 3 a.m, and I was like, I just need like a root beer float right now. I just really need a root beer float. So I went out, and all the while I'm realizing like, yeah, I think I have like psychic abilities or something. Like, I go to the Arby's and I'm standing in line, and I'm like, okay, there's 10 people in line. I'm going to play rock, paper, scissors, and then I'm going to project the wrong answer into their mind. And then if I win rock, paper, scissors, I'm going to get in front of them in line, and that's the game. And so I just asked people one by one if I could get in front of them if I won. And of course, they like all want to play because it's 3 a.m. in Arby's. And of course, within no time, I was in the front of the line. And eventually, obviously, I was drunk at that time, and I was like fooling around because I was a kid. But when I was in that grocery store and everybody was still wearing their mask, I realized if I was in my full creator power, I could just beam this vibration of sovereignty so strong that people would just grab their mask and throw it on the floor and be like, wait a minute, I'm God. Like, what the shit am I doing here, you know? And that's literally what we're doing. We're transmission stations. When we are embodied to that point, you know, the false matrix literally starts to fall apart. And so that's when I realized, you know, really this year I'm going back to the training mat. I'm going back to claim my powers, because this is the level that we're about to play this game. And all of you are here to hear this vibration, because this is something that's activating within you. And to activate that empowerment of knowing that you're literally a creator being, and that we can influence the reality with our cosmic telepath abilities.
Oh God, yes. I would even say, to kind of add on to that, and some of you guys are doing it already, when you're having conversations with anyone now, start having a separate conversation with them in your head, especially those people that you find out in public. And I know not everyone here, like based on where you are in the world, you know, you're not really out in public, but if you are, and even if you're on social media, in fact, I would say social media is probably one of the best places to test, you know, your ability to telepathically interface, but really start having an entirely separate conversation with people underneath. And what you guys are going to find is that honestly, I'll say most people that you encounter, it'll just be a thing you're doing in your head. And you're going to be like, okay, but you will inevitably find a person, or it's just like when you were in line, and you will find this interaction where you will tell someone something, they will not even be anywhere near you. It'll be in a store or a place, or, you know, wherever it is, and you will watch them react instantly. Or you will notice an instant, you know, movement. Something will take place, and that is absolutely real. And so you will totally be able to read people's energy, and everyone can do it to a certain extent. You know, right now, the level to which is a little bit different, you know, for each of us. But you guys have the ability right now. You can totally interface with people. I would even say it's probably easier to send a feeling. Like that's probably the easiest way, really, like a feeling or an emotion. And for those of you guys that are willing to start to experiment with this, I swear to God, you're going to come back on another one of these live streams. You're going to be like, see, oh my God, I did it and it totally worked. But I promise you, especially when you start opening up that solar plexus, it's like this whole other system starts to flow, and then it reaches the heart. And for those of you guys that, you know, don't know this already, a lot of us do. So forgive me if everyone's like, obviously, Matthew, but where does that actual sending and receiving take place? In the heart chakra. Actually, if you want to get technical, within the actual anatomical heart itself is the greatest transmitter and receiver and conductor of electrochemical energy in the body. It is literally the sending and receiving device. It's a very, very fascinating thing. But anyway, I've gone on long enough. Sorry.
Yeah, just somebody saying that it's borderline infringement upon free will. That's that. I mean, I think I was like 20. I literally just woke up and I was like, oh shit, like what can I do? You know, I think I got superpowers. And of course, I was drunk. And as soon as that power I was like shown to me, I immediately shut that down, because I realized that I needed to actually work on myself and establish like a lot of different levels of maturity before I would actually go and work on my psychic abilities again. So now it's been 7 years since I've been on this path, and it has been about, you know, healing our inner fragments, coming into, you know, absorbing our shadow selves and aligning all of our dimensional aspects to the highest source connected aspects of ourself. And so there's definitely a lot of different things that are involved here, right? Like even if you are a kind person, if there's like a shadow self inside of you that has a part that, you know, wants to hurt people or whatever, like definitely, like I've been saying this whole series, focus on the inner work and what is organically yourself, what belongs to you, your multidimensional faculties, they will be returned to you, right? It's this process of kind of earning them, and not earning them from somebody else, but earning them from inside of you, aligning yourself so that your ethics are in alignment, your intentions are in alignment. So when you go and apply those skills, like right now, you know, these abilities to facilitate mass healings. This is like an example of how we're using our psychic abilities now, right? The ability to project and transmit frequency. And I know that, this is only the beginning of us exploring what we're capable of. I've been seeing all sorts of visions about what is possible, in the future when we are completely trustworthy, when our higher self trusts us to drive with all of our powers online, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely agree. Is it okay if I answer one of the questions in the chat?
Absolutely.
Yeah. From Miss Lizard Lip, she says, Matthew, do you believe the fascia is the holding energy at meridian points? I've worked with John Barnes approaching it spiritual to have your body release memories and energy in myofascial release. Miss Lizard Lips, I absolutely agree. I would say if you're looking for a physical location or a physical part of the body with which to interface directly and to hopefully tap into what would be the physical dimension of the meridians, absolutely, it'll be within the fascia. I would also argue, and there's really no evidence for this other than just my own perception and many others, that there is actually an additional template that combines the frequencies of all of those together, whether it be the sort of the what we call the interstitial energetic response, which is just kind of what I call like the myofascial layers and the energy that flows through within there, all the way down to the actual non-physical meridians and the chakras and the organs. I think there's an additional template layer that we're working with that I think is very much what you're talking about with that modality, but it's also something that I am in my own way very, very new with understanding. I would say one of the ways that helped me begin to differentiate what I was doing from what I felt to be some of like the foundations of Chinese medicine or some of the other modalities in which they'll work with the channels was I began to consciously use the meridian pathways not as static structures that will flow or transmit energy, but much more so as a mode of transportation through which you will move your or another person's consciousness through the non-physical body. I believe that when we move through the meridians and actually begin to move our consciousness into another person's body, which we can all absolutely do, it has nothing to do with impingement upon free will other than, the level to which you're willing to go inside someone's body and start pushing things around. But in most cases, the majority of people, unless there's a tacit agreement or an intention or on some level a gateway that opens from what we would call the higher self aspect, in most cases that energy will just be drifting out in what we would call the ethers. And so I would say start, separating ourselves from the classical modalities of emotional frequencies and static treatment of meridian points and actually start moving the body through them. And it's an incredibly complicated and strange thing to do, but I think that every one of us will have our own ability to basically interface with the non-physical body in your own way. Another way you can do it, for those of you guys that don't really understand anything about chakras or say like a meridian, I would say maybe an even more immediate path into direct physical activation or healing could be through organ consciousness. And I would say out of all the work that I do, that's probably the second most common thing, in which we will literally just work with your organs and we'll send a little stream of energy right into the spleen or the liver or wherever it is. And so I don't know if that makes it more confusing or kind of answers your question, but I've even found, and this is a really weird thing for me to say publicly, so I'm just going to say it here. It's kind of like an embarrassing thing, but I've started to have actual physicians and acupuncturists and literal real educated people within this realm that are working as, within that industry, starting to, do sessions with me and try to figure out how we are doing this. And so anyway, I know that's a lot, but there's a whole other template that we're using at this point. So it's a strange thing.
All right. I love that. I always feel so kind of like, oh, finally, like I told you so, kind of like to myself, but also like subconsciously to my parents and stuff, or people that are just like, that's impossible. And what's fascinating, actually, recently I started watching YouTube videos of, people that have different things like schizophrenia. and they'll just like talk about their experience and stuff. There's a lot of people with different YouTube channels, and that's always really fascinating for me because I just like, you know, when you begin to tune into that, you're like, how much of this is like interdimensional interference and different kind of experimentation that has happened, you know, multidimensionally. Like maybe these people are just tapping into the archon grid and they're just being told they're crazy. So I'm really excited for the coming years when we begin to bring this work to, you know, the foundations of this reality, this 3D reality, and begin to, you know, really, I mean, I would love to do different kinds of studies with people that are open to experimental treatments. And, you know, say we have a bunch of people that have different mental illnesses and, you know, they just go through a period of treatment with us. And I would love to see, you know, how that process changes this world.
Absolutely. I think in other parts of the world, people with those issues are thought of as prophets and sages. And for a lot of us, just say, you know, I know we're going on a long one here, but for a lot of us, a lot of the sort of schizoaffective issues that will show up, especially the ones that activate right around late teenage age, like around 17 to 19 years of age, which is where a lot of us, for those of us that do get schizoaffective issues, it'll start to show up around that age range. In certain cases, you can begin to work with and close, which isn't always a thing you want to do, guys. But in certain cases, the crown chakra will be so absolutely open that there is an absolute inability to discern or understand or use or even hold on to a wavelength or frequency. And for some people, that is literally why they have a schizoaffective disorder. Crown chakra, soul star chakra, stuff like that. And so anyway, it's
Yeah, it's
totally
like
real.
when the crown chakra is fully open, but the lower chakras are distorted,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a pressure. It's like our body, and this is a weird sort of like a metaphor, but your body will become very much like a balloon. And a lot of us, you'll see people walking around wherever you are, you will see them living like that their entire life. And what happens is the body begins to hold the most prevalent emotional frequency. For some people, it's a very positive one, but for most of us, it's like annoyance or like a sadness or like a depression or, you know, like a number of issues. And anyway, it's a crazy thing.
So we about ready to wrap it up?
Oh yeah, totally. And I really want to thank everybody for hanging out and like Yuzi, especially for like allowing me to come in and make all these weird sounds and like ramble at people, you know, for an hour. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so, so much for being here and for sharing your incredible awareness and knowledge with us. We're so appreciative of you. And we hope that, you know, we've been doing this together for a while, so we'll probably keep doing
Oh, it has
it.
been, right? Dude, I guess it had like what 2017, 18. So it's been like 4 years. Interesting. Interesting. Think of who we were when we first met. Not trying to get weird here at the end, but like really go back in time. Did we have any idea what was going to happen? You know what I mean? Did we have any idea? I didn't.
Yeah, and I think that it's a very fun exercise too, where we were 4 years ago. I think that right now we're completing like a major 3.5 or 7 year long
Mhm.
cycle. And I definitely feel that because I kind of woke up, you know, about 7 years ago. And they told me that it would take about 7 years to kind of come into my body. And so, anyway, don't want to ramble on here.
Right.
We're gonna be back. Well, I'm gonna be back. Matthew, you're welcome to be back tomorrow too, if you'd like to
Welcome
be.
back anytime at all.
So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a beautiful rest of your day, wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.
Thanks for hanging out.